I think this video is going to explain why. I want to say like maybe 2 or 3 days ago, I had a hard time looking at that movie, Sound of Freedom. Not that the movie was bad. I eventually did end up watching it. Exposed a lot of dark truths that's happening in Hollywood. But when we went to go see it, all of a sudden it had technical difficulties. We had to wait 15-20 minutes for them to fix an issue. They didn't immediately turn off the lights. Like it just wasn't comfortable. But let's look, see what they got to say.
In a 1998 interview, Mel Gibson made a number of cryptic references to a dark and evil side of Hollywood that he personally encountered.
When I came over here, I was in my mid-20s.
Right.
The first time I really came over here. I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town.
They don't like that.
And about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, Weird Town, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it?
Mm.
And then you find out later on the track that you are exactly on track
Mm.
with a lot of this stuff. Not specifically on track, but that you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real at the time. And you think,
it's like he's telling you, but not telling you. And I think because he realizes like the amount of influence certain people may have if he, at least at this time, exposed them the way he wanted to. So it just goes to show like, man, this has been happening for a long time, 20, 30, 40, probably hundreds of years, So that's crazy to me. Let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
A place like this can humiliate you.
Mm-hmm.
And it can humiliate you, it can be humbling. I mean, it does rip your life to pieces if you'll let it.
Yeah.
And it's always pounding at the walls. These little guys, these little heathens with no soul downstairs with horns on their head with a battering ram trying to like beat your walls in.
Now, Gibson, of course, since that interview has met with, shall we say, some unfortunate circumstances. His reputation was soiled after 2006 drunk driving arrest when he made widely publicized anti-Semitic remarks, which have tarnished his reputation among Hollywood insiders ever since. And yet, Gibson appears to have come out from that reputational slander rather undaunted. He was seen of late standing up and saluting President Trump at a recent UFC championship fight, and he's been pictured posing with Carrie Lake in Arizona. But now we're getting reports that Gibson is preparing to release a groundbreaking 4-part documentary series that'll shed light on the hidden world of a global child sex trafficking.
They don't shut him down.
According to Newsweek, the shocking revelation is expected to expose the industry's staggering.
God forbid. But like, I also wouldn't be surprised if he showed up like dead somewhere. Like, as crazy as it sounds, he mysteriously had a heart attack, or quote unquote, he was mugged or, poisoned. Like, I would not be surprised.
Annual revenue of $34 billion. If you can believe that's an amount that surpasses the yearly earnings of the airline industry. Here's Tim Ballard of Operation Underground and one of the leading figures in the global fight against child trafficking.
Ukraine got a phone call from Mel Gibson. He actually did the final edit of The Sound of Freedom. That's how we know each other, but not well enough that I'd be getting phone calls. They told me that he was in Budapest at the time. This was right hours after the invasion. And he said he supports a bunch of orphans in Ukraine and he was worried about them. And he asked if I could help get them out. So now I've got 12 from my wife. I got 13 others from Mel Gibson. And I'm thinking, okay, I got this list of kids I got to get out. I told Mel, I said, you got to help me. This is going to be expensive. I won't ask you for direct donation, but can you help me film this? Let's film what's happening so we can get people to understand and they can support us. He said, no problem. He helped us get set up and started filming. 4 months later, what I thought was going to be maybe a documentary about Ukraine ends up being a 4-part docuseries. It's almost done. It's being produced by DNA Films and executive produced by Tony Robbins. That's how crazy it got and how prophetic my wife was. When I showed up in Ukraine with a list of, I think, 20 names, the Ukrainians countered me and gave me over 10,000 names of orphans that they didn't know where they were because of the chaos caused by war. And more importantly, and more frightening to me, was the fact that I know that human trafficking is a $32 billion a year business. Wow. It's the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. And I also know how kids get forced into that market. And it's through vulnerable.
Money is the root of all evil. Wow. The fact that that is a viable market, that is crazy. $32 billion. Wow. Okay.
Situations like in the aftermath of a hurricane, mostly in a developed country, or an earthquake, or in this case, a war.
Hey, again, that was Tim Ballard. He's absolutely amazing. He's a former CIA and DHS special agent, and now he's dedicated his life to rescuing children from human trafficking, which, of course, is happening in Ukraine, as he pointed out. And it's happening more than any one of us could imagine our worst nightmares at our southern border, thanks to the deliberate incompetence of the bumbling Biden administration. But as you could see from that testimony, Mel Gibson, behind the scenes, is on the forefront of these rescue operations, which may indeed involve the release of this documentary, that according to Newsweek. Now, you should know Gibson's publicist has denied these rumors. Obviously, he's very worried about the blowback that Mel would inevitably get from a town that doesn't appear to take too kindly to exposing some of their darker tendencies. But unfortunately for Hollywood, the genie may be out of the bottle on this.
Right.
I don't know if any of you saw the recent bombshell piece in the Wall Street Journal, a front page article exposing the social media site Instagram for being used as a platform for connecting and promoting a vast network of accounts dedicated to the commission and purchase of underage sex content. It was an investigation conducted by the Wall Street.
That's why I think it's like important to monitor what your kid is doing on like these social medias, because like I feel like that Instagram thing, like that's been like a known thing. Like everybody knows, at least I think people know that you got a lot of creeps on there who try to act like they're a teenager, or they go to the same school as your child just to get them to do things that they normally wouldn't do. So I feel like that's a known fact, and I feel like with everything that's going on with that movie, like Sound of Freedom, it's just really putting it in the light for everybody to see. But yeah, definitely pay attention to what your kids and what they're doing on social media.
Journal, Stanford University, as well as the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and it found that Instagram's algorithms actively promote pedophilia-related content, connecting pedophiles and guiding them to content sellers through various recommended systems. The researchers discovered that Instagram allows people to search explicit hashtags related to child sexual abuse and links them to accounts advertising and selling child sex material. I mean, it was horrific stuff, to say the least, and indicates that something seems to be going on here. There does seem to be a kind of Harvey Weinstein-like rumbling going on here, where the dark secrets everyone knew about are about to come to the surface for all to see. So regardless of whether Mel Gibson goes through with this or not, it does appear that the cat is out of the bag, and some pretty seedy behavior among our ruling elite is about to come to much-deserved light. Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but And
that's pretty much just him advertising something else. But yeah, it seems like all that movie did, Sound of Freedom did, was put everything that everybody knew was already happening and put it into the light. And the fact that he said, the sex trafficking, the child trafficking, stuff like that, it's like $32 billion industry. What, like, that sounds even weird just saying that. A market, an industry. Wow. But I digress. Y'all take a chance and really go through your kids' social media and make sure, they're not following anybody that's creepy or talking to anybody that's creepy. And y'all have a good one. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let's keep it going, y'all. Have a good one.